Namo Bhagavate Sri Ramakrishnaaya. Letters of Swami Vivekananda. Letter number 45. Chicago, 28th May 1894. Dear Alasinga, I could not reply to your note earlier because I was whirling to and fro from New York to Boston, and also I awaited Narasimha's letter. I do not know when I am going back to India. It is better to leave everything in the hands of Him who is at my back directing me. Try to work without me as if I never existed. Do not wait for anybody or anything. Do whatever you can. Build your hope on none. Before writing about myself, I will tell you about Narasimha. He has proved a complete failure. However, he wrote to me for help in the last stage, and I will try to help him as much as is in my power. Meanwhile, you tell his people to send money as soon as they can for him to go over. He is in distress, of course. I will see that he does not starve. I have done a good deal of lecturing here. The expenses here are terrible. Money has to fly, although I have been almost always taken care of everywhere by the nicest and the highest families. I do not know whether I shall go away this summer or not. Most probably not. In the meantime, try to organize and push on our plans. Believe you can do everything. Know that the Lord is with us. And so onward, brave souls. I have had enough appreciation in my own country. Appreciation or no appreciation, sleep not, slacken not. You must remember that not a bit even of our plans has been as yet carried out. You must remember that not a bit even of our plans has been as yet carried out. Act on the educated young men, bring them together and organize them. Great things can be done by great sacrifices only. No selfishness, no name, no fame. Yours are mine, nor my master's even. Work for the idea. Work the idea, the plan, my boys, my brave, noble, good souls. To the wheel, put your shoulders. Stop not to look back for name or fame or any such nonsense. Throw self overboard and work. Remember, the grass, when made into a rope by being joined together, can even chain a mad elephant. The Lord's blessings on you all, His power be in you all, as I believe it is already. Wake up, stop not until the goal is reached. Say the Vedas, up, the long night is passing, the day is approaching. The wave has risen, nothing will be able to resist its tidal fury. The Spirit, my boys, the Spirit, the love, my children, the love, the faith, the belief, and fear not. The greatest sin is fear. My blessings on all. Tell all the noble souls in Madras who have helped our cause that I send them my eternal love and gratitude, but I beg of them not to slacken. Throw the idea broadcast. Do not be proud. Do not insist upon anything dogmatic. Do not go against anything. Ours is to put chemicals together. The Lord knows how and when the crystal will form. Above all, be not inflated with my success or yours. Great works are to be done. What is this small success in comparison with what is to come? Believe. The decree has gone forth. The fiat of the Lord has gone forth. India must rise. The masses and the poor are to be made happy. Rejoice that you are the chosen instruments in His hands. The flood of spirituality has risen. I see it is rolling over the land, resistless, boundless, all-absorbing, every man to the fore. Every good will be added to its forces. Every hand will smooth its way, and glory be unto the Lord. I do not require any help. Try to get up a fund, buy some magic lanterns, maps, globes, etc., and some chemicals. Get everything. Get every evening a crowd of the poor and low, even the pariahs, and lecture to them about religion first, and then teach them through the magic lantern and other things, astronomy, geography, etc., in the dialect of the people. Train up a band of fiery young men. Put your fire in them and gradually increase the organization, letting it widen and widen its circle. Do the best you can. Do not wait to cross the river when the water has all run down. Printing magazines, papers, etc. are good, no doubt, but actual work, my boys, even if infinitesimal, is better than eternal scribbling and talking. Call a meeting at Bhattacharya's, get a little money and buy those things I have just now stated. Hire a hut and go to work. Magazines are secondary, but this is primary. You must have a hold on the masses. Do not be afraid of a small beginning. Great things come afterwards. Be courageous. Do not try to lead your brethren, but serve them. The brutal mania for leading has sunk many a great ship in the waters of life. Take care especially of that is, be unselfish even unto death, and work. I could not write all I was going to say, but the Lord will give you all understanding, my brave boys. At it, my boys, glory unto the Lord. Yours affectionately, Vivekananda. Letter number 46. Salutation to Bhagavan Sri Ramakrishna, 1894. Dear brothers, footnote, brother disciples of Swami Vivekananda, before this I wrote to you a letter which for want of time was very incomplete. Rakhal and Hari wrote in a letter from Lucknow that Hindu newspapers were praising me and that they were very glad that 20,000 people had partaken of food at Sri Ramakrishna's anniversary. I could do much more work but for the Brahmos and missionaries who have been opposing me unceasingly, and the Hindus of India too did nothing for me. I mean, if the Hindus of Calcutta, Madras, had held a meeting and passed a resolution recognizing me as their representative and thanking the American people for receiving me with kindness, things would have progressed appreciably. But it is over a year and nothing done. Of course, I never relied on the Bengalis, but the Madrasis couldn't do anything either. There is no hope for our nation. Not one original idea crosses anyone's brains, all fighting over the same old threadbare rug, that Ramakrishna Paramahamsa was such, and cock and bull stories having neither head nor tail. My God, won't you do something to show that you are in any way removed from the common run of men, only indulging in madness? Today you have your bell, tomorrow you add a horn and follow suit with a chowri. The day after you introduce a cot today, and tomorrow you have its legs silver mounted, and people help themselves to a rice porridge, and you spin out 2,000 cock and bull stories. In short, nothing but external ceremonials. This is called in English imbecility. Those into whose heads nothing but the sort of silliness enters are called imbecile. Those whose heads have a tendency to be troubled day and night over such questions as whether the bell should ring on the right or on the left, whether the sandal paste mark should be put on the head or anywhere else, whether the light should be waved twice or 4 times, simply deserve the name of wretches, and it is owing to that sort of notion that we are the outcasts of fortune, kicked and spurned at, while the people of the West are masters of the whole world. There is an ocean of difference between idleness and renunciation. If you want any good to come, just throw your ceremonials overboard and worship the living God, the man God, every being that wears a human form, God in his universal as well as individual aspect. The universal aspect of God means this world, and worshipping it means serving it. This indeed is work, not indulging in ceremonials. Neither is it work to cogitate as to whether the rice plate should be placed in front of the god for 10 minutes or for half an hour. That is called lunacy. Millions of rupees have been spent only that the temple doors at Varanasi or Vrindavan may play at opening and shutting all day long. Now the Lord is having his toilet. Now he is taking his meals. Now he is busy on something else, we know not what. And all this while the living God is dying for want of food, for want of education. The Banyas of Bombay are erecting hospitals for bucks while they would do nothing for men, even if they die. You have not the brain to understand the simple thing that it is a plague with our country, and lunatic asylums are rife all over. Let some of you spread like fire and preach this worship of the universal aspect of the Godhead, a thing that was never undertaken before in our country. No quarreling with people. We must be friends with all. Spread ideas. Go from village to village, from door to door. Then only there will be real work. Otherwise, lying complacently on the bed and ringing the bell now and then is a sort of disease, pure and simple. Be independent. Learn to form independent judgments. That such and such a chapter of such and such a tantra has prescribed a standard length for the handle of a bell. What matters it to me? Through the Lord's will, out of your lips shall come millions of Vedas and Tantras and Puranas. If now you can show this in practice, if you can make 3 or 400,000 disciples in India within a year, then only I may have some hope. By the by, you know the boy who had his head shaven and went with Brother Tarak Shivananda from Bombay to Rameshwaram. He calls himself a disciple of Ramakrishna Paramahamsa. Let Brother Tarak initiate him. He had never even met Sri Ramakrishna in his life, and yet a disciple. What impudence! Without an unbroken chain of discipleship, Guru Parampara, nothing can be done. Is it a child's play to have no connection whatsoever and call oneself a disciple? The idiot! If that boy refuses to go on in the right way, turn him out. Turn him out. Nothing, I say, can be done without the chain of discipleship. That is, the power that is transmitted from the Guru to the disciple and from him to his disciple and so on. Here he comes and proclaims himself a disciple of Ramakrishna. Is it tomfoolery? Jagmohan told me of somebody calling himself a brother disciple of mine. I have now a suspicion that it is that boy to pose as a brother disciple. He feels humiliated to call himself a disciple. I dare say, and would fain turn a guru straight away, turn him out if he does not follow the established procedure. Talking of the restlessness of Tulasi, Nirmalananda and Subodhananda, it all means that they have got no work to do. Go from village to village. Do good to humanity and to the world at large. Go to hell yourself to buy salvation for others. There is no mukti, liberation on earth to call my own. Whenever you think of yourself, you are bound to feel restless. What business have you to do with peace, my boy? You have renounced everything. Come, now is the turn for you to banish the desire for peace, and that for mukti too. Don't worry in the least. Heaven or hell, or bhakti or mukti, don't care for anything, but go, my boy, and spread the name of the Lord from door to door. It is only by doing good to others that one attains to one's own good, and it is by leading others to bhakti and mukti that one attains them oneself. Take that up, forget your own self for it. Be mad over the idea. As Sri Ramakrishna used to love you as I love you, come love the world like that. Bring all together. Where is Gunanidhi? You must have him with you. My infinite love to him. Where is Gupta, Sadananda? Let him join if he likes. Call him in my name. Remember these few points. 1. We are sannyasins who have given up everything, bhakti and mukti and enjoyment and all. 2. To do the highest good to the world, everyone down to the lowest. This is our vow. Welcome mukti or hell, whichever come of it. 3. Ramakrishna Paramahamsa came for the good of the world. Call him a man, a god, or an incarnation, just as you please. Accept him each in your own light. 4. He who will bow before him will be converted into purest gold that very moment. Go with this message from door to door if you can, my boy, and all your disquietude will be at an end. Never fear. Where is the room for fear? Caring for nothing whatsoever is a part of your life. You have so long spread his name and your character all around. Well and good. Now spread them in an organized way. The Lord is with you. Take heart. Whether I live or die, whether I go back to India or not, you go on spreading love, love that knows no bounds. Put yes to the stars. But remember, one needs weapons to overcome others. Sannimitte varam tyago. Vinashe niyate sati. When death is so certain, it is better to die for a good cause. Yours affectionately, Vivekananda. Postscript. Remember my previous letter. We want both men and women. There is no distinction of sex in the soul. It won't do merely to call Sri Ramakrishna an incarnation. You must manifest power. Where are Gauri Ma, Yogin Ma and Golab Ma? Footnote. All women disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, tell them to spread these ideas. We want thousands of men and thousands of women who will spread like wildfire from the Himalayas to Cape Comorin, from the North Pole to the South Pole, all over the world. It is no use indulging in child's play, neither is there time for it. Let those who have come for child's play be off now, while there is time, or they will surely come to grief. We want an organization. Off with laziness. Spread, run like fire to all places. Do not depend upon me, whether I live or die. Go on spreading yourselves. Yours affectionately, Vivekananda. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.